So I'm the Director of Environment for the Americas, and we're a nonprofit organization based in Colorado. And we work to connect people to birds and conservation. So our work takes us across the Americas and around the world, mostly through the program that started us, which is World Migratory Bird Day. This program has created all the other work that we've done and also established our international connections that we have. We have a community located in the United States, partners in Canada, and over 800 partners that we work with from Canada to Argentina and the Caribbean. Through World Migratory Bird Day, we also work with the United Nations Environment Program and the East Asian Australasian Flyway Program. So we get that program out quite a bit through a lot of places. And it's been just an amazing opportunity to work with so many people. So one of the things we also like is we really like collaborations. We really feel like they are critical for conservation, that they are what we have to do, especially when we're working with migratory species. And it's for that reason that we got involved with helping to coordinate the Western Hummingbird Partnership. So this is a coalition of organizations. We have an advisory committee that meets once a month to discuss what the Western Hummingbird Partnership will work on, what our focus will be, how we'll operate. And then we also just work beyond that with all of you, whoever wants to contribute their information or have a way to share that. We put out a regular newsletter. We do a lot of other activities and go regionally for other programming. And I'll give you just a little bit about some of our projects. Sorry about that green line. But this is just a little bit of what we're working on. So about 2 years ago, we started a conservation planning process, and we brought in participants from, again, across the Americas to discuss hummingbirds and what the threats were to hummingbirds. And we came up with a conservation plan. We have 3 plans that we've put together. And one of the things we'll be asking you during this workshop is if you have any knowledge you want to contribute, if you have ideas for specific aspects of this plan, we'd love to hear from you again. So we want to keep it live, not just a plan you put on the shelf and then you don't do anything with it, but a plan that we can keep moving along. So I'll bring that up as we move through the week. We are working on setting up a specialist group with the IUCN. You know, that's the groups that sets the status levels for hummingbirds and all other wildlife. There is not a hummingbird specialist group, and that means hummingbirds are not recognized for the many declines that are going on in their populations. And we want to make sure that we're contributing information that can better inform the IUCN. Research on tracking methods, we're supporting work on research methodologies and how we can make those safer for hummingbirds, or if they do have any impacts on hummingbirds, what are some other ways we can track hummingbirds that we haven't thought of before, especially through maybe feeder technologies. There's so much technology coming out now, it's just incredible. So there are lots of new opportunities to do this. We're also working on fire mitigation recommendations. Many of you might be familiar, especially those of you in the West, you might be familiar with recommended mitigation for, preventing fire at your home. Some of these recommendations are not beneficial to birds, and there are alternatives. So we've been working with a team of experts that includes fire managers, firefighters, other experts to look at other ways and other actions that we can recommend to people to home harden and to improve their home resilience without taking out all the vegetation. Safe feeder use, working with the Wild Bird Feeding Institute. Nectar feeders are going out all over, and feeding hummingbirds has a lot of responsibility if you're going to do that. So we want to make sure people are using feeders carefully. Support for the development of banding tools. We're very interested in helping all the banders here out and making sure that there are tools that are available for people to purchase or use at their banding stations. And then small grants programs that we've had over the years to give funding to groups who just need a little extra support to do their work. And that's helped to create pollinator gardens and do hummingbird research projects in Mexico, the US, Canada, and many other activities, education and outreach. So we've accomplished quite a lot, and we have a lot more to do, and I think this opportunity is going to help us quite a bit. The Western Hummingbird Partnership focuses on 7 Western migratory species. That is, these are the species that we are really interested in, and that comes from a lot of work and awareness of declines in hummingbird populations. So as you can see, most of these hummingbird species are in steep decline. You see that from the graph showing the bars below the horizontal line on the x-axis. And what we're finding is that about the only species that seems to be doing really well is Anna's hummingbird. Even in the last decade, ruby-throated hummingbird has shown some slight declines. So this is the work of Christine Bishop and one of her students, Simon English, and the others. And it's been really informative for all the work and for our work on especially the IUCN. 2 species have been recognized as tipping point species. These are hummingbird species that have lost half their population in the last 50 years and are anticipated to lose another half. So that's a great concern for everyone. Rufous hummingbird, I think someone said, it's a bird that could disappear right before our eyes and we might not know why. So, we're in a bit of a crunch here to try to figure out what can we do, where are the problems the biggest, and how can we help to protect, these species. The rufous hummingbird is also our iconic species. This is a species that has a very broad migration. I'm sure you all know this, but it migrates from Mexico up, most people have said the West Coast, up to Alaska, and then it makes a circular migration coming back down through the Rocky Mountains where I live and then back into Mexico. But there have been a lot of things we've learned about that too. So we've learned some variations on that. But for that reason, because it's passing through over 64 habitats and it's facing all the threats that all hummingbirds are facing, we kind of use this species as what's now known as a surrogate species. It's a species that encompasses the challenges of many others. So if we can study rufous hummingbird, then we hope that we're also benefiting broad-tailed hummingbird and Allen's hummingbird and black-chinned hummingbird and all the other hummingbirds that are kind of within its range. And the threats that these hummingbirds face, it just seems to kind of grow year to year, right? So agriculture, pesticides, climate change, fire, collisions, habitat loss, even some illegal take of hummingbirds. There are other factors. These are the ones that the planning group chose as the top categories, and then they actually ranked them, and so put climate change, pesticides, and agriculture as the 3 topics of most concern for these 7 species of Western migratory hummingbirds. So those are the topics that we focused on first. We're moving to collisions next to look at how collisions are impacting hummingbirds. And so this is the conservation plan. You can go on to the website at Western Hummingbird Partnership.org and find the 3 documents, and you can take a look at the recommendations. But just as an example, this is some of the pesticide work that we did to look at some of the impacts from pesticides, insecticides, and what some of the strategies might be to reduce those impacts. And so this is where we're looking for you to come in. If you know of anyone who works on this topic, if you have ideas from your community, if you've seen successful projects, can you share that? We want to make sure we have information that we can share out if you want to. It's just a good way to come together on some of these topics. And also to inform the conservation plan so we know where to direct attention for hummingbird conservation. So that's how we got to be involved with the Western Hummingbird Partnership. We've been coordinating it for about a decade now, and just really excited again about this conference. And you can contact us at any time. And I don't want to take up any more of Sherry's time. So there'll be more opportunities to talk about it, but I want to thank you again for being here. And I want to introduce Sherry.